You catch the mate to this, I'll buy it.
It's a rare old Mississippi bootfish.
I caught a few in my time. Yo, Longstreet, huh?
Hmm?
Your housekeeper told me to look for a fisherman with a white dog and no fish.
One day I'm going to fool her.
My name is Fred Hornbeck. You know it?
Nope, sorry I don't.
Well, that makes us even. I never heard of you till yesterday. How'd you like to catch me a murderer?
You serious?
Seeing as how I spent 10 years of my time up at Angola prison for a killing I never done. I'd say I was serious.
Mr. Hornbeck, I'm not a detective. I'm an insurance investigator.
Well, you see, that's fine, because this here's an insurance case.
Oh. I tell you what, why don't we talk about it tomorrow in my office? You call my secretary.
Sure. Thanks. I call and you ain't in. I know the game, mister.
Wait a minute. Watch out! Mr. Hornbeck! Thanks. Can somebody help? Anybody?
How about the color? Did you see the color? Was it a sedan, a convertible?
Look, son, I saw a car coming to me about 2,000 miles an hour, and then I was flying over the cement. When do you figure I had time to take notes?
Sorry, but I have to ask these questions. You never know what a guy sees in a situation like
I
that.
tell you what he sees. He sees cement.
Mr. Hornbeck?
Oh, over here.
Someone will come by and talk to you in the morning. If you remember anything that won't keep, have the nurse call traffic and ask for Officer Grove.
Traffic. I told the duty officer I heard that car accelerate. That was a weapon coming at him.
Didn't run by the book?
We used to have a guard up in Angola who went by the book. He loved it. It meant he never had to think.
Nice.
Even his shirt collar's melting. There's a chair on your right.
Oh, thanks. Okay, thanks. Down.
Did you come to help?
What makes you think I can help?
Nothing, but I tried everybody else. Either got put out or thrown out. See, I ain't got no money.
You said this was an insurance case.
Yes, sir. Did you ever hear of the Meacham Sugar Refinery? Well, a fellow by the name of Kingman owned that. He owned a big plantation, a big house, a big car. Just about everything about him was big, except his heart, which you could shove through the eye of a needle without bruising it nohow. Well, he went and got himself shot to death in '59, right outside my front door with my gun.
And you didn't do it?
No, sir.
No alibi?
Well, it was a gallon of red wine, but nobody heard me snoring.
Including the 12 jurors.
Will you help me?
But what does this have to do with insurance?
Well, you see, I know I didn't kill Richie Kingman. That means somebody else done it. Now, he went and left plenty of life insurance money. Maybe somebody shot him to get it. Now, if you could prove that, you get the money back and you'd get paid and everybody be happy.
Yeah. Wish life were that simple.
You feel that, Mr. Longstreet? That's how simple my life is. Why? You know, you just go along from day to day, not hurting nobody, hunting a little possum, fishing a little crawfish. And all of a sudden, the walls go up. 10 years in prison is a long time. Either you stay mad at everything, or you live. I lived.
Got a broken arm. It's late.
I know. I'm trying to finish a book. Oh, Duke called again.
It's about the arson case, hmm?
Yeah, some multi-million-dollar monstrosity in Dallas. Oh, you're not interested.
No. Nicky, I can almost hear the steel doors closing. Smell the plain food on a tin plate. Feel the panic of being locked up, forgotten.
He must really be something, that old man.
An old boot I don't want to see thrown back in the river.
The murder took place on October 31st, Halloween. Hornbeck's gun, but no fingerprints wiped. The two men had an argument that afternoon. It seems that Hornbeck was squatting on Kingman land. A little to the right.
Why would a man wipe up his fingerprints and leave his gun?
The defense asked that question, but nobody answered it. That's about all they did ask. It was an open and shut case. They called it second-degree murder and put the old man away for 10 to 20.
They put him on the witness stand?
Yes, he said he spent the night with a friend.
I thought I had one more here.
Hmm? Oh, it's my bookmark. Here's something. Question. Who is this friend? Answer. I can't say. Question. Can't or won't? Answer. Both. Question. Why doesn't this so-called friend come to your aid? Answer. I'm only responsible for my own conscience.
And I'm only responsible for my own paycheck.
I see by the veins in your neck you are somewhat agitated.
No kidding. My company's got a $2.3 million arson case to lay on my friend here, and he keeps fooling around with convicted murderers in ancient history. How you feeling otherwise, Duke? Great. Would you like to read 1,123 letters from one Fred Hornbeck to the Great Pacific Insurance Company? They date from December 10th, 1959 through August of this year. Well, I assume Great Pacific held the life insurance policy on Kingman, hmm? Yep, held it with regret. Not so much for the $300,000 they had to pay out, but for the irritation of having to read 1,123 letters about it.
Do you realize you've got the entire educational history of a human being in that box?
Wonderful.
No, really, Duke. These early letters were written by somebody else, probably a friend. Here's one dated September 12th, 1962. It's printed, Mike, like a child's. Here's one, 1965, big scrawled handwriting. That means the man learned to write from scratch. And he learned to read, too. And it's all right here. It's like exploring an ancient ruin and discovering that real people still live there.
I'm not so sure Fred Hornbeck would appreciate that ancient ruin analogy, Nicky. Who was Kingman's beneficiary, Duke? His wife. Did the investigator mention anything about a friend Hornbeck spent the night with? No, there was no friend. Man set out to investigate a $300,000 life insurance claim. You figure he'd make an attempt to verify the witness's existence. Who was the investigator? Stuart Means. I don't know him. I don't know him either. Maybe he moved to another company. Could you find out for me, Duke? I'd like to talk to him. What about my $2.3 million fire? Hmm? You know, Don Quixote never had an overhead to pay for tilting those windmills. I'm only responsible for my own conscience.
Bend the knees, woman. There's a sick man sitting here. God love her. Them skirts are enough to burst a weak heart.
You're evading my question.
I ain't evading. I told you I was drunk.
You told the court you were with a friend.
I was lying.
When, now?
Damn.
No, I don't believe it. Don't believe it. No lawyer's going to put his client in the witness stand with an idiotic story like that unless it's the truth.
My lawyer never knew nothing about the truth, so you can forget that.
You must have believed you're innocent. Otherwise, you'd have made some kind of a deal.
I knew I was innocent, and I wasn't making no deals, no matter what anybody
Fred,
said.
if you want me to help you, I want to know who the friend was.
You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Longstreet? I know I'm innocent. I ain't asking you to prove that. I'm asking you to find the person that done it. Now, what happened to me, that's history. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing. My secrets ain't gonna catch you a murderer.
What if it will?
And you just ain't gonna catch no murderer.
You really believe him, don't you?
Well, the man doesn't have much reason to lie.
Then why not tell you who the friend was?
I don't know. Maybe it's fear, but I'm betting it's not. I don't think that man's ever been afraid of anything.
Then he's protecting someone.
I think so. I'll lay odds it's a woman.
I've heard of Southern gallantry. But 10 years in prison?
Why not? Look what Macbeth did for his lady, and he was a northerner.
South of Scotland.
Red Hornbeck is a pain in the neck. Hey, that rhymed. Maybe they should carve that on his tombstone.
He's not dead yet, Sheriff.
He might as well be. You know, he's been out on the street less than a week, and he comes tearing into town, bothering people, asking questions. You know, I must have 10 ton of mail from that pecan. State did itself a disservice when they taught him to read and write.
Well, you have to admire his persistence. Man pays his dues for being caught in a lie. Why keep up the lie?
I told you, he's a pecan. Always has been a pecan. Squatting in that cabin, living off the river, boozing, womanizing. Never did an honest day's work in his life.
Is that why he spent 10 years in jail, Sheriff?
He was convicted on the evidence, Mr. Longstreet. Now, I was there.
Did Hornbeck have any friends?
A couple. Jack Villanueva, for one.
Well, I'd like to meet him.
You can't. He died a year ago.
No woman friends.
No, I told you he was a womanizer.
But nobody special.
Oh, Abby, maybe, Jack's daughter. Then she was more like kin.
Would you know where I can find her?
No. She left Meacham years ago. Never even come back for her daddy's funeral.
What can you tell me about Kingman's widow?
I hear you've been around town asking a whole lot of questions. Why? What's it to you? It's all over now. We don't need anybody dredging the whole thing up again.
Easy, boy.
Who are you?
It was my father that was killed. And I don't want you coming around talking about my family and old Freddie and getting people upset. Especially my mother. You stay away from my mother. So help me, I'm gonna run you back to New Orleans on a pole.
Come on, Prince.
I'm still looking at the world through chicken wire. I thought I was through with that. I'm sorry about Richie. I reckon I'm sorriest about that. He and the boy were buddies. First time I taught him to bait a hook, he was, maybe 6, and he got the hook caught in his finger, and he turned as white as a clean sheet, near fainted. I wrote Richie about 65 when I was getting so I could write pretty good. He never wrote back. How you progressing?
I want you to tell me about Abby.
Ain't nothing to tell.
She was with you that night, wasn't she?
Who you been talking to?
Someone who saw you?
That's a lie. Nobody saw us.
That's right, it's a lie. From both sides. Now, come on, Fred, I'm not going to put it in the newspaper. She went away, her father's dead.
Oh. I never knew he was dead. It don't feel like he's dead. We was, best friends. All our lives we were like brothers. I was best man when he got hitched to his wife. I was godfather to Abby. When she was 22 years old, I was 50. That's a lot of years. I never meant to start up with her. She used to come out to the river to visit. And one thing led to another. Did you expect me to go up on the witness stand and tell Jack what went on with me and his little girl? I couldn't do that. I'd done some wild things in my time, but I couldn't do that to a friend.
So you did it to yourself. 10 years.
So, 10 years. First I figured, she'd come around and tell him, but she never did. Then I figured, well, I must have really hurt her, to keep her from telling the truth. Then I started figuring how much hurt that was and how much hurt I'd done to other people over the years. I went and added it all up. And I finally figured that 10 years wasn't too high a price to pay to a friend.
At 22, she wasn't a little girl anymore. Did she want to get married?
She did, and I didn't. I ain't the hitching kind. And I told her.
Do you know where she is now?
Oh, I haven't seen her or heard of her since the night Kingman was killed. Oh, I wrote to her a few times, but the letters always came back, address unknown.
Well, I'm going to try to find her.
I don't want you to do that, Mr. Longstreet. Now, I don't need to know more.
I think you do. Did you talk to the insurance investigator about Abby?
No. Nobody. No investigator ever
My name's Stuart Means.
Never.
Fred, what would you have done if the sentence had been hanging?
I don't know, miss. I like to think I'd have hanged.
This one. You call him right away on that, here. Group of citizens have organized a draft to get me into the State House of Representatives. Don't you be surprised if you see that picture coming at you from all directions. I know you by reputation, Mr. Longstreet, and, well, I'd like to help, but, well, that was all a long time ago. And everything should be in my report anyhow.
You didn't mention anything about the friend Hornbeck was supposed to have been with that night.
Well, now, I saw no point to it. Nobody believed that story anyhow. Besides, Hornbeck dropped it himself after a while.
Did you talk to him about it?
No, I never talked to him, period. I saw no point to it. I mean, it was a cut-and-dried case. The law had him cold. I saw no reason to drag out settlement to Mrs. DeCarry.
Mrs.
Kingman.
She remarried?
Yes, she did.
And you see her?
No. She's an important citizen in this state, and, I read about her. She makes the society pages every so often, and, well, when you're politically oriented, you read those pages.
I thought you were being drafted.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Means. I hope we haven't taken up too much of your time.
Well, no, not at all. I'm sorry I can't be more help.
Do you know Abigail Villanueva?
Abigail Villanueva? No. No, I don't believe I do.
Means was with the Great Pacific for 7 years. He had a good record. They rated him A. That's your rating, Mike, so you'd better figure he knew his business.
Yeah, that's what bothers me.
He got into the lumber business in '62.
Just after Mrs. Kingman collected her husband's insurance. Any partners?
No. Where'd he get all his money? I don't know. Savings, inheritance, rich wife, Irish sweepstakes.
Blackmail.
Hi.
You back?
I'm back.
Oh, beautiful. You paid somebody to do that, huh?
Do what?
My nails. It's a Meacham Beauty Salon special. Nails and facial, $3.50.
Mike, the nails are 1930s red.
Passion flame.
What do you expect for $3.50?
Nikki, why are you allowing yourself to be destroyed by the Meacham Beauty Salon?
Because I will go to any lengths to get information.
Did you say any?
Almost. If you want to know what's happening in a small town, you visit the local beauty parlor. And the Meacham Beauty Salon ladies know all, see all, and tell all.
Such as?
Abby Villanueva left Meacham in '61, the day after Christmas, with the Santa Claus from Wells Department Store. And the little trollop, as the ladies call her, has never returned.
Anybody know where she is now?
Negative.
Well, at least we know she exists.
And the use of the personal pronoun, Duke, I sense a developing commitment here.
I've assigned the arson case to another fellow. Far wiser and a lot more pragmatic. Together with a fat fee, of course, and, I just don't like the idea that your Mr. Hornbeck may not have gotten his fair portion at the bar of justice.
Oh, no, our Mr. Hornbeck.
Our Mr. Hornbeck.
What else, Nicky?
Nobody has a bad word for Louisa Kingman. They sympathized with her losses and were delighted that she married Henry de Carey.
When?
A discreet 2 years after her husband's death. And the ladies of Meacham Beauty Salon consider them a refined and genteel couple who shun publicity and are constantly behind the scenes with good deeds.
So they don't make the social pages that our friend Stuart Means likes to read.
How do you do, Mr. Longstreet?
Mrs. DeCarey, my associate, Nicky Bell.
Hello. Hello. I hope I haven't kept you waiting too long. Please sit down.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mary Rose. Will you have tea?
No, thanks.
Henry?
Please. I'm investigating the whereabouts of a young woman for the Great Pacific Insurance Company. She used to live in Meacham, and I understand she worked for you. Her name is Abigail Villanueva.
Oh, Henry, I'm sorry.
Something wrong?
Oh, no. Just a little accident with the tea.
Are you all right there?
I'm fine. What name?
Abigail Villanueva.
I don't know it.
She was called Abby.
I know the name. Oh, you remember Louisa. Jack Villanueva's daughter. The one that ran away with Santa Claus. A pretty thing, with eyes like saucers. But she never worked for us. I'm afraid you're misinformed. I'll tell you who she did work for. Charlie Porter. He used to have a diner in Meacham until about 5 years ago. You might talk with him.
What are they doing in this house?
David.
I told you not to come around here.
These people are guests in this house. You must apologize. David.
I'm sorry. I guess we're all playing games.
Mr. Longstreet, are you investigating Richard Kingman's death?
Yes, I am.
Why?
Because I think an innocent man spent 10 years in prison because it was expedient. Because it didn't disrupt anyone's status quo except his.
Well, should I come in for bourbon and cranberry juice, or are you going to continue the silent dialogue?
I'm sorry, Nicky. I keep thinking about the DeCareys. Something was out of place in that room today. I felt it. I know it. I can't put my finger on it.
She certainly was nervous.
No, that's not it. Something else. Well, if I stop pushing, it'll come to me. Sleep tight.
Okay. Hey, I'll get Pax at the vet in the morning, okay?
Thanks.
Good night.
Night, Nicky. Hi, Mary. Mike Longstreet. Any messages? Okay, thanks. Good night. Who's there? Who is it?
your friend.
Fred.
I got tired of wire mesh windows. Oh, I think I broke my cast.
Did you see him?
He was wearing masks.
Masks. Masks for a blind man. And they were reeking from alcohol, masks, booze, hit and run. Oh, they're frightened little men, Fred. Those are the kind you can break.
Anybody here? Mr. Longstreet?
Up here.
What happened?
Oh, it's a mess, huh?
Only for the one who has to clean it up.
Now, believe me, Mrs. Kay, it was a lot more painful causing it. What's Mr. Hornbeck doing?
Oh, you mean Sleeping Beauty?
Oh, yes, he told me he's crazy about sleeping under the stars.
Well, do I wake him up or clean around him?
You're the boss. I have to see a man about a waitress. Max, come here. Come on. Hurry. Come, there you go. Okay, right. Come on.
There's a nice couple here to see you, Charlie. This here is Mr. Longstreet and Miss Bell. They've come all the way from New Orleans to say hello to you.
How are you, Mr. Porter?
He's in a wheelchair, Mike, and he doesn't understand.
Oh, sure you do, don't you, Charlie? You understand everything. He's had a stroke, you see, and he don't talk or move, but that mind of his is just a ticking away.
Can you ask him questions? Talk to him?
I should say so. Do you know these people, Charlie? He don't know you. Is that the truth?
That's the truth. Mr. Porter, I'm an insurance investigator. I'm trying to find Abby Villanueva. I understand she used to work for you in the diner. Do you know where she is?
He don't know.
A man's life's at stake, Mr. Porter, and there's a great deal of money involved. My company has to get in touch with Abby. Would you help us find her?
Yes.
Dear Uncle Charlie, thanks for the money. Things is better now. I'll write you a letter. Love, A.
Postmark is Miami Beach, June 7th, 1970. She never sent that letter.
I'll have her office in Miami try and track her down. You'll be delighted to know that I have a friend in real estate. I found out that Stuart Means made a very good deal on the lumber business. He put $50,000 down, which he got as a bank loan. And would you like to know who co-signed that loan? Hmm? Henry DeCary.
DeCary? Mm-hmm. Well, that business was purchased before DeCary married Louisa Kingman.
Right.
Do you think maybe some hanky-panky was going on way back then?
Like DeCary and Mrs. Kingman while hubby was still alive. Hubby found out, so DeCary killed him.
Maybe. Maybe she doesn't know anything about her husband's death. I like that lady. There's a quality about her, the way she speaks, the way she went after my hand to shake it. I'm not ready to believe she's a murderess.
I've been with Miss Louisa since she got married to Mr. Kingman. I was just a kid. My ma was housekeeper, and I used to help out. When Richie got born, David, they call him now.
David? Does he call himself David?
Yes, sir. And he don't take to being called nothing else.
Why don't you get to it?
Red, you hush up.
Get to the thing, mister. You come here looking for information. Tell us what you're after and what you're paying.
Fred.
Quiet, woman. I'm out of work 5 months now, so I can't afford to be no free Judas. What do you want and what do you pay?
We're investigating Richard Kingman's death.
What you talking about? Mr. Kingman's dead more than 10 years. And the man that done it's been in jail and out already.
We think they put the wrong man in jail. That's why we're here.
You ain't get nothing from me. And that man had himself a fair trial.
Maybe he did. But he's a poor man. And sometimes fair doesn't mean the same for a poor man.
Amen to that.
We just want to make sure it was fair. I know the Kingmans didn't get along. Was that because of Mr. DeCary?
Mr. Kingman never knew nothing about Mr. DeCary. He never needed no reason to beat on that poor woman. Or on Richie. He was a miserable, terrible drunk. And nobody knowed it because the family was too high and mighty to admit it.
Where was Mrs. Kingman when her husband was shot?
Miss Louisa was home that night. I know, 'cause it was Halloween, and the kids was out trick-and-treating, and I was helping her get out the treats. Mr. Kingman got shot at 10 o'clock, and I was with her right then.
How did you know the Kingmans didn't get along?
David DeCary. That's what was wrong with the scene at their house. They kept calling him David.
That's his name.
His name was Richard Kingman, Jr., an only son, a namesake. He was 14 years old when his father was killed. Why change his name? Why would a wife and a son totally obliterate the existence of a father?
Mr. Longstreet, in 3 days, you've managed to upset my entire family. Why? Because of Hornbeck. He was tried and convicted. And even if it should happen that this was a miscarriage of justice and he was innocent, what could we do but feel sorry for him?
People who have nothing to hide don't get upset over questions.
When you start digging, most people have something to hide. It doesn't have to be murder.
No, it could be something as simple as adultery.
Good day, Mr. Longstreet.
Thanks. Come. You know what Stewart means?
No.
No? Why did you co-sign a $50,000 note for him?
That, too, is none of your business.
For?
What did he want this time?
To ask about Stewart Means.
So you drew blood with Mr. DeCary?
A couple of pints at least. How'd you make out with the sheriff?
Not a drop. On the night of the murder, the country club had a Halloween party. Sheriff Pike was there. So was Henry DeCary.
Yeah, the whole world's got an alibi.
Ain't she some pussycat?
Do you have to refer to my food with such endearing names?
She's a beaut. They're all beauts.
You know, if Mike here could catch crooks like you catch fish, he'd be a millionaire.
Here we go. Nice and hot. Watch your arm. Here you are.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Give you a nice big one. Hey, now you just taste that and you tell me you ever tasted better, huh?
That's beautiful, Fred.
Fantastic.
That's not bad.
I would like to make a toast. Somehow I'm go to prison ain't so important no more. Sometimes I even have trouble separating it from what I've done all my life. It's the first time I ever cooked in a kitchen, a real kitchen. First time I ever drunk wine from a real wine glass. It's sure the first time I ever had so many friends. Ain't that how you make a toast?
That's the only way, Fred. Oh, let's see now. This is, it's French Bordeaux, 1959.
Close. California Burgundy, 1967.
Fred, aren't you going to use that fork?
I don't feel so hungry. I reckon it's like walking to the candy store when you're a kid, and all the time you're walking, you're real excited. That last bit, that last 100 yards.
I wish I felt that close.
Well, all you have to do is figure out how anybody can be in two places at the same time.
Well, that's impossible unless you're identical twins.
Except at Halloween.
Sure, I remember. She wasn't wearing no costume at all. Miss Louisa never liked getting fancy dressed like that. And like I told you, she was at home that night.
Thank you, Mrs. Carter.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the point of it is. Henry DeCary, in costume, could have slipped out that night and killed Kingman.
Could have, but didn't. Now, I've got pictures of country club activities that go all the way back to 46. That was 59, Halloween, right? Well, here you are. Mr. DeCary was there, and he was dressed like Lafayette.
Anyone else in that picture wearing a Lafayette costume? All right, thanks. 2 more Lafayettes.
You've got a visitor.
I was a very young girl when I married Richard. So young, I thought I knew everything there was to know about life. I was wiser when I grew older. I wasn't sure of anything in life. I only knew that I was terribly unhappy. I met Henry 5 years after I married Richard, though he never really entered into my life until about a year before Richard's death. I'd have given anything if that death hadn't happened. Mr. Longstreet, Henry is a good man. It's unfair for him to be suspected of a sin he's incapable of committing. Please, Mr. Longstreet, let it pass.
What about Fred Hornbeck?
I can help him. Give him money.
That's very generous.
Well, not money then. I can help him. What does he want?
The truth. Will you give him that? I'm sorry, Mrs. Zakary. I'm going to find out who killed your husband.
Have you never been in love, Mr. Longstreet?
Mike? Mike? Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
We found Abby right here in New Orleans.
Abigail Villanueva, 1939 to 1970.
She purchased the crib in July of '61, paid cash. She died last December. The body was shipped from Miami. Cause of death, an overdose of barbiturates.
What happened to her, Santa Claus?
$1961. She was only 24 years old when she bought that crypt. It's as though she knew her life was over before it even began.
I reckon that about does it for me. I figured DeCarey's done the killing. There just ain't no way to make him say it.
There has to be. The man co-signed a bank loan for $50,000, and it had to be blackmail money. So somebody found out about it. That means he didn't commit a perfect crime.
If he committed a crime at all.
I thought he was your prime suspect.
Howard Stewart means tune in on the Careys. Why would he? No, the key here is Abby. He must have talked to her, realized Fred was innocent, and went snooping until he found out who the real murderer was. Then he paid off Abby to get her to go out of town. That's how she got enough money to buy her crypt.
But she was the only threat to anyone, and now she's dead.
But they don't know that. They don't know that. Otherwise, why are they running so scared? Why the hit and run? Why the attacks on Fred and me? No, they think she's alive and threatening.
Hi there, what do you think you're doing? What are you doing? My name's Hornbeck, and boy, you know it. I just spoke to Abby up in Atlanta. And boy, you're lucky I don't kill you right now. 10 years I spent in that prison. When Abby gets here, I'm going to see you spend twice as long in the same cell.
Hello?
I've got to see you here. Tonight.
Why?
They found Abby.
Louisa? What is it?
Oh, Henry. I didn't know how to tell you. We've got to talk.
I could feel his bones shaking.
Oh, good. All right, be seeing you, Fred.
Couldn't I just sit here with you?
No, we get in any trouble at all, you're in it. pick you up on a parole violation. This little caper may not help you, but I don't want it hurting you either.
I want to stay.
All right. What time is it?
6:20. I've got another elementary question.
Yes, Watson.
Do you think it was Means who sent those two men after you and Fred?
I'm sure of it.
But even if we frighten Means into Carrie into a tete-a-tete, then what?
Well, we've got 2 eyes and 4 ears between us. All I want to do is get them panicked enough to start pointing fingers at each other.
As long as they don't start pointing guns at us.
Who is it?
Duke.
Hello, Mr. Hornbeck.
How do?
Just happened to be in the neighborhood, huh?
Nope, I made a special trip with a message for Nikki from Alice.
What's that?
She wants to know if you can babysit tonight with the kids while she takes in a heavy PTA meeting.
Tonight, but I'm planning to stay here and...
Wrong. I'm planning to stay here. And...
Light's going off.
I hate to say this, but I'm starving.
Welcome to the club.
What if Means isn't as frightened as we think he is?
Well, then we'll starve for nothing.
Company coming.
Yeah, I hear it.
It's the rules.
Who's driving?
It's too dark to see.
You went in the yard, didn't it? Give me 20 minutes.
You stay put. I got a phone call to make. I'll be right back.
Hello?
It's Duke.
What's happening?
Everything is okay. Nikki, in about 20 minutes, I want you to call the police and tell them you saw a prowler in Means Lumberyard.
Duke, Alice didn't need a sitter.
I know.
Where is he?
You just said stay put.
Stay put.
I heard him crying in his room. It was nearly 2 in the morning. His father was drunk that night, brutally drunk. I know. In a way, it was self-defense, but could people understand that? I couldn't take the chance. He was 14 years old, my only son. I could think of nothing to do but protect him. I went to the shack and found Richard. He was dead. I couldn't move him. I cleaned off the rifle and left it there beside him. I didn't care about Mr. Hornbeck. I only wanted to save my son.
Hey, Richie.
Freddie, I'm sorry. I was so scared. He always scared me, Freddie. He was hitting Mother. And I tried to stop him, and he came after me. I ran to your place, but you were away. He was coming at me, and I just took your gun. I never meant for you to go to prison. I was just so scared.
I know. You couldn't have done what you done tonight unless you were still scared.
I never meant to hurt you.
You just gotta stop being scared, son.
L28 clear, 20L36, 20L36, traffic accident. 105 clear, all units on tour, stand by, 7L21 going down. XPL84, no delay unit.
Women and kids. I'm a sucker for them. What'll happen?
There will be a hearing. Probably won't be easy for the DeCarries, but it'll be a lot easier than the 10 years you spent in prison.
Just as long as they don't have to look through no chicken wire. Hey, anybody still hungry? Ought to be some catfish left.
Yeah, Duke. How about you coming fishing with Fred and me tomorrow?
Good idea. Maybe you'll catch some meat to that boot.